Hi, readers, and welcome back to Bible in a Year Live Tanakh Project. Before we dive into today's reading, I want to take a moment and acknowledge the long pause that I've taken since I last had the opportunity to read for you. I've been away for a while, longer than I intended, and I wanted to be transparent about why. Over these past months, seasonal depression, along with normal major depression, layered themselves on top of each other in a way that made even the things I love feel heavy. When you're in that space, the activities that once bring joy can start to feel distant, almost unreachable. But even in that fog, something beautiful happened. My community, my friends, my chosen family kept showing up. They checked in, sent messages, offered encouragement, and reminded me that I wasn't navigating this season alone. Their presence was a much needed lifeline. I'm deeply grateful for every single person who held space for me while I am finding my footing again. Now, trust me, there's many projects and activities that I desperately want to get back to, but I am trying to give myself the grace that God affords us all. It's in that sense of community, of people standing together and lifting one another up, is exactly what we are going to encounter in today's reading. Welcome to week 36, day 6, Nehemiah chapters 10 and 11. In Nehemiah 10, we're going to see people of Israel recommitting themselves, not as isolated individuals, but as a unified community. They signed their names, shoulder responsibilities together, and promised to support one another in rebuilding not just walls, but identity, purpose, and spiritual grounding. Then in Nehemiah 11, we witness the courage of those who volunteered to repopulate Jerusalem. It wasn't glamorous, it wasn't easy, but it was necessary for the restoration of their shared lives. And the community honored them for stepping forward. These chapters remind us that renewal is rarely a solo act. It's communal, it's relational, it's built on people who show up for one another, sometimes quietly, sometimes sacrificially, yet always meaningful. So I can't promise that you'll always hear my voice, but I can promise that with the coming spring, with the coming of the sun shining just a little bit longer, I return to this project and I do so with a renewed appreciation for the power of community. Just as the people in Nehemiah's time leaned on one another to rebuild what had been broken, I've leaned on the people in my life to help me rebuild my own sense of stability and find a little joy. And now, with gratitude and a sturdier heart, I, Natasha, am glad to be your host and continue this journey with you today. Let's dive in. Nehemiah chapters 10 through 11 from the New Living Translation. Chapter 10. The document was ratified and sealed with the following names: the governor, Nehemiah, son of Hakaliah, and also Zedekiah. The following priests: Sariah, Azariah, Jeremiah, Pashur, Amariah, Malachijah, Hattush, Shebaniah, Maluk, Urim, Meremoth, Obadiah, Daniel, Jonathan, Baruch, Meshullam, Abijah, Najamin, Mahaziah, Bilgai, and Shemaiah. These were the priests. The following Levites: Jeshua, son of Azaniah, Ben-Nui, from the family of Henadad, Kadmiel, and their fellow Levites: Shebaniah, Hodiah, Kelita, Eliah, Hanan, Micah, Rehob, Hashabiah, Zakur, Sherebiah, Shebaniah, Hodiah, Bani, and Beninu. The following leaders: Perush, Pahath Moab, Elam, Zatu, Bani, Bani, Asgad, Bebai, Adonijah, Bigbai, Adin, Atir, Hezekiah, Azur, Hodiah, Ashum, Bezai, Ariah, Anathoth, Nebai, Magpiash, Meshullam, Hazir, Mishishabel, Zadok, Jadua, Galatia, Anan, Ananiah, Hosea, Anaiah, Ashub, Haloesh, Elah, Shobek, Rehum, Ashobna, Messiah, Haiah, Hanan, Anan, Maluk, Harim, Bahna. The vow of the people. Then the rest of the people, the priests, the Levites, gatekeepers, singers, temple servants, and all who had separated themselves from the pagan people of the land in order to obey the law of God, together with their wives, sons, daughters, and all who were old enough to understand, joined their leaders and bound themselves with an oath. They swore a curse on themselves if they failed to obey the law of God as issued by his servant Moses. They solemnly promised to carefully follow all the commands, regulations, and decrees of the Lord our Lord. We promised not to let our daughters marry the pagan people of the land, and not to let our sons marry their daughters. We also promised that if the people of the land should bring any merchandise or grain to be sold on the Sabbath or on any other holy day, we will refuse to buy it. Every 7th year, we will let our land rest, and we will cancel all debts owed to us. In addition, we promise to obey the command to pay the annual temple tax of 1/8 of an ounce of silver for the care of the temple of our God. This will provide for the bread of the presence, for the regular grain offerings and burnt offerings, for the offerings of the Sabbaths, the new moon celebrations, and the annual festivals, for the holy offerings, and for the sin offerings, to make atonement for Israel. It will provide for everything necessary for the work of the temple of our God. We have cast sacred lots to determine when, at regular times each year, the families of the priests, Levites, and the common people should bring wood to God's temple to be burned on the altar of the Lord our God, as is written in the law. We promise to bring the first part of every harvest to the Lord's temple year after year, whether it be a crop from the soil or from our fruit trees. We agreed to give God our oldest sons and the firstborn of all our herds and flocks, as prescribed in the law. We will present them to the priests who minister in the temple of our God. We will store the produce in the storerooms of the temple of our God. We will bring the best of our flour and other grain offerings, the best of our fruit, and the best of our new wine and olive oil. And we promise to bring to the Levites a tenth of everything our land produces, for it is the Levites who collect the tithes in all our rural towns. A priest, a descendant of Aaron, will be with the Levites as they receive these tithes. And a tenth of all that is collected as tithes will be delivered by the Levites to the temple of our God and placed in the storerooms. The people and the Levites must bring these offerings of grain, new wine, and olive oil to the storerooms and place them in the sacred containers near the ministering priests, the gatekeepers, and the singers. We promise together not to neglect the temple of our God. Chapter 11. The people occupy Jerusalem. The leaders of the people were living in Jerusalem, the holy city. A tenth of the people from the other towns of Judah and Benjamin were chosen by sacred lots to live there too, while the rest stayed where they were. And the people commended everyone who volunteered to resettle in Jerusalem. Here is a list of names of the provincial officials who came to live in Jerusalem. Most of the people, priests, Levites, temple servants, and descendants of Solomon's servants, continued to live in their homes in the various towns of Judah, but some of the people from Judah and Benjamin resettled in Jerusalem. From the tribe of Judah, Athaiah, son of Uzziah, son of Zechariah, son of Amariah, son of Shephatiah, son of Mahael, of the family of Perez. Also, Mahasiah, son of Baruch, son of Kol-Hoseh, son of Hazaiah, son of Adaiah, son of Jehoram, son of Zechariah, of the family of Shelah. There were 468 descendants of Perez who lived in Jerusalem, all outstanding men. From the tribe of Benjamin, Salu, son of Meshullam, son of Joed, son of Pedaiah, son of Kolaiah, son of Mahaseiah, son of Ithiel, son of Jeshaiah. After him were Gabai and Salai, and a total of 928 relatives. Their chief officer was Joel, son of Zikri, who was assisted by Judah, son of Hasanua, second in command over the city. From the priests, Jediah, son of Johrib Jachin, and Sariah, son of Hilkiah, son of Meshullam, son of Zadok, son of Merioth, son of Ahitub, the supervisor of the temple of God. Also, 822 of their associates who worked at the temple. Also, Adaiah, son of Jeroam, son of Eliah, son of Amzai, son of Zechariah, son of Pashur, son of Malchijah, along with 242 of his associates who were heads of their families. Also, Amasai, son of Azriel, son of Hazai, son of Meshilemoth, son of Emir, and 128 of his outstanding associates. Their chief officer was Zabdiel, son of Agedolam. From the Levites, Shemaiah, son of Hashub, son of Azrikam, son of Ashiva, son of Bani, also Zabbithai and Hozabad, who were in charge of the work outside the temple of God. Also Mattaniah, son of Micah, son of Zabdi, a descendant of Asaph, who led in thanksgiving and prayer. Also Bakbukiah, who was Mattaniah's assistant, and Abda, son of Shemua, son of Galal, son of Jeduthun. In all, there were 284 Levites in the holy city. From the gatekeepers, Hakub, Talmon, and 172 of their associates who guarded the gates. The other priests, Levites, and the rest of the Israelites lived wherever their family inheritance was located in any of the towns of Judah. The temple servants, however, whose leaders were Zia and Bishpa, all lived on the hill of Ophel. The chief officer of the Levites in Jerusalem was Uzzi, son of Bani, son of Hashbiah, son of Mattaniah, son of Micah, a descendant of Asaph, whose family served as singers at God's temple. Their daily responsibility were carried out according to the terms of a royal command. Hananiah, son of Meshizabel, a descendant of Zerah, son of Judah, was the royal advisor in all matters of public administration. As for the surrounding villages, with their open fields, some of the people of Judah lived in Kiriath Arbar with its settlements, Dibon with its settlements, and Jekabzeel with its villages. They also lived in Jeshua, Moladah, Beth Pelet, Hazar Shuel, Beersheba with its settlements, Ziklag, and Mekonah with its settlements. They also lived in En-Rimmon, Zorah, Jarmuth, Zanoah, and Adullam with their surrounding villages. They also lived in Lachish with its nearby fields, and Azekah with its surrounding villages. So the people of Judah were living all the way from Beersheba in the south to the valley of Hinnom. Some of the people of Benjamin lived in Geba, Michmash, Ijah, and Bethel with its settlements. They also lived in Anathoth, Nob, Anaiah, Azor, Ramah, Gitnam, Hadid, Deboim, Nebalat, Lod, Ono, and the valley of craftsmen. Some of the Levites who lived in Judah were sent to live with the tribe of Benjamin. This concludes today's reading. Amen. As we close today's episode, I keep returning to the image of a community choosing one another, choosing to rebuild, recommit, and re inhabit the spaces that once felt empty. Nehemiah 10 and 11 aren't just historical records, they're reminders that restoration is a shared calling. The people didn't stand alone, they signed their names together. They stepped into new responsibilities together. They moved back into a quiet, half built Jerusalem because they believed that life could flourish there again. And in a way that mirrors the season I've been walking through, a season that often comes back over and over. I call them valleys. Because depression can make the world feel like a city with too many empty houses, quiet, dim, and hard to return to. But community has a way of lighting lamps in those spaces. The people who checked in, who encouraged me, who reminds me that I wasn't forgotten. They were my Jerusalem volunteers. They helped me come back to myself, to remember not to get trapped in the negativity of my own thoughts, but to remind me that God is with me. He is the light on my feet. And one small step at a time, I will eventually get back to myself. So, as we step into the day ahead, I invite you to reflect on your own circles of support. Who has stood with you when things felt heavy? And where might you be called to stand with someone else, offering presence, encouragement, or simply a reminder that they're not alone? May today be a day of gentle rebuilding. May you feel surrounded by the people who lift you up. May you find courage to return to the places in your life that need tending. And may the Lord, who guided the people of Jerusalem, also guide you, strengthen you, and bless the work of your hands. Go in peace. And I pray I will meet you again for another reading. Blessings.